your sincerity to Allah and the genuineness of your faith. That's inside of your heart. Only you know that and Allah knows that. Nobody else can check it. The other light, as I mentioned, comes from your right hand. And that light is actually a representation of the things you and I did in this life. If you had good deeds to do, if you did good works, then those works are going to get converted into light on that day. So you've got these couple of torches on Judgment Day that are helping you navigate, that are helping you move forward, right? And at the end of the day, all of this conversation it's only got one purpose. You and I want to stand up on that day and we want to have some light on our hands. We want to be able to access that light so we can make our way to Jannah. Our Messenger ﷺ would describe that light on Judgment Day that we're going to be raised with is not all the same for everybody. It's not all the same. There are some people who barely have enough light, they can barely see their feet as they walk. That's how much light they have. There are those who have so much light that they can see it's as though that you can see from one city to the next one. That's how much light you have. And that depends on the strength and the purity of our faith and the strength of the deeds we left behind, doesn't it? And so that's the reason the parable of light is important. This was not the subject of my khutbah. I just wanted to set the stage. Allah wanted us to understand the concept of light and how we have to preserve that light in ourselves. And we have to ensure that that investment is maintained and not killed before we make it before Allah on Judgment Day. Right now you won't notice it, but on that day everybody's going to be wishing they have it. Now, these two parables that I wanted to share with you, these examples that I wanted to share with you, are actually not about light. They're about darkness. They're at the end, the two tragic cases of people who are not going to have light or who don't take advantage of the light that they have. And so I'll go through them one by one. Allah describes وَالَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا أَعْمَالُهُمْ كَسَرَابٍ بِقِيعَةٍ يَحْسَبُهُ الظَّمْآنُ مَاءً. Allah says, as for those who've disbelieved, which can also be translated those who've buried away, meaning buried their light away. That's one of the other ways you can think of the word kufr. Anyway, those who've denied and have been ungrateful and have buried their light away, what about them? Well, they are like somebody traveling in the middle of the day in a desert and they see a sarab, which means a mirage. So a man is thirsty, a woman is thirsty, lost in the desert, and they're trying to find a place to survive. And of course, in the hot sun, you start seeing waves where there are no waves. Things get a little watery looking in the distance, and that's a mirage. And because you're dying of thirst, you think that's worth something. And so, يَحْسَبُهُ الظَّمْآنُ مَاءً, the desperately thirsty one runs towards that water, thinking that it's water. حَتَّى إِذَا جَاءَهُ, until the point where he reaches it. لَمْ يَجِدْهُ شَيْئًا, he found nothing there. It was just sand. It was a false image. فَوَفَّاهُ حِسَابَهُ وَاللَّهُ سَرِيعُ الْحِسَابِ. So Allah, and he will only find Allah there. He was looking for water and Allah makes this strange turn in the example. He says instead of finding water there, he will find his master there. فَوَجَدَ اللَّهَ عِنْدَهُ فَوَفَّاهُ حِسَابَهُ. He'll find Allah there and Allah will complete his account there. Allah will give him what he deserves. Wallahu sari'ul hisab, and Allah is quick in taking the audit. Allah is quick in taking account of all the things you and I did. That's the first example. I haven't explained it yet. I just want you to know what it is first. Now quickly the second example. Oh, another example. And this is going to be almost the opposite scene. First time we were in the desert, now we're going to be in the ocean. He says, كَظُلُمَاتٍ فِي بَحْرٍ. It's like layers on top of layers on top of layers of darkness out at sea. So we're not talking about the daytime now. We're talking about the nighttime. In the first example, it was clearly daytime because you don't see a mirage at night, you only see it in the day. And now you're out at sea and you're covered in layers of darkness. And then he says, في ظلمات في بحر لجي. Lujji means an ocean that is not merciful, that won't let up. Like the waves are getting violent and you're hoping it was just one bad wave and then things are going to calm down. But no, the waves keep getting worse and worse and worse. Until يَغْشَاهُ مَوْجٌ مِّن فَوْقِهِ. A wave overtakes him. A wave is so huge out in the middle of sea that it crushes whatever vessel he's in, whatever boat or ship that he's in. It's now underwater. And then مِّن فَوْقِهِ مَوْجٌ. On top of that wave that's already slammed you into the water is another wave throwing you deeper inside. Min fawqihi sahab. And on top of that, there are thunderstorm clouds.